Welcome to Huff Goes to the Movies. My name is Eric Huffman II. Most people call me Huff. Some people know I love going to the movies. I hope you had a great Martin Luther King Day, but in case you didn't, that's alright because today we can celebrate. If you're a fan of Cloverfield. Yes, that's right. 15 years ago today, Cloverfield hit theaters and sparked a few different careers. This was a really weird time to be going to the movies. This was after JJ Abrams maybe saved Mission Impossible. This is before Matt Reeves started making movies about apes and trying to save Batman. And this is before Michael Giacchino sort of became the go-to Marvel music guy. And yeah, Michael Giacchino did score Cloverfield. If you've seen the film, you're probably wondering, was there music in it? And yes, there was. Cloverfield was such a strange thing, even from its inception. I remember seeing the trailer in July of 2007, before the first Transformers movie, and it was a really good trailer, but it was missing something. The movie didn't have a name. We knew it was from producer JJ Abrams, and that was that. That's pretty much all they gave us. We saw the Statue of Liberty head flying through the sky, we heard people screaming, and then the trailer was over. And this sort of sent a shockwave through internet nerd movie culture because at that point, people started searching the internet for everything they could find on this movie. And what we found was just as confusing as that trailer. But it didn't matter because a few months later, they put out a second trailer, they gave the film a name, and now people were kind of ready to experience something called Cloverfield. Fast forward to January of 2008, I saw this film on its opening night. There were signs outside of the theater warning us that the shaky cam might induce vomiting, and I don't know, an hour and a half later, I walked out thinking, oh, that was cool. But the story of Cloverfield goes a little bit deeper than that, and it's so weird to think of when this film came out relative to everything else. Paranormal Activity had already premiered at Screamfest a few months earlier, but it would be another 2 years before Paramount re-edited the film and gave it a wide release. And after Paranormal Activity, it seemed like every other movie was a found footage movie. So I want to dig into what Cloverfield actually did as a film, and then we can talk about the franchise stuff a little bit later. So Cloverfield was directed by Matt Reeves. And again, this is before he started making movies about apes and making Batman movies. And this film was made for $25 million. And it's kind of like ground level Godzilla, which people have mixed feelings about modern Godzilla movies, so I'd say that as a compliment. But the film, in earnest, is about a group of friends trying to celebrate their friend who is moving away. He got a new job in Japan. And in the middle of this going away party, there is this attack by this mysterious thing in New York City. Credit to Matt Reeves and screenwriter Drew Goddard, because while the apartment stuff is cool and the going away party is a little interesting, they're in New York City. So of course, aside from the giant monster that is terrorizing things, it's great to get these characters out in the open. And so it creates a bunch of scenarios where they're really frantic and things are going crazy left and right. But more importantly, it allows them to build suspense. See, Cloverfield cost $25 million to make, and a large part of that is due to the fact that they didn't have to show the monster off all throughout the movie. They build on the suspense of our characters trying to piece together what's actually happening. And while we don't really care all that much about some of the interpersonal drama that's going on between them, like there's something about some girl that our main character likes, and will they or won't they, it doesn't really matter, but seeing them explore these different avenues of the city and having them come face to face with the different monsters and everything, I think it makes for a film that is way more exciting than they probably even delivered on paper. And the shaky cam is really effective. Now, at no point in the screening did I feel like vomiting. I don't think I know anyone that ever actually got sick. But despite some conveniences, like why is the camera recording for this long without them changing the battery? Or how is the camera staying together despite how many times they drop it? I think that the momentum and the never-ending movement of the film makes this for a very effective watch. And by the end of the film, We still don't have a ton of answers for what's actually going on, so it leaves the door open for them to explore this thing on the other side of all these events. And that's where Cloverfield gets really, really weird. See, a few years later, Paranormal Activity would come out, and it would become a huge hit. And then the next year, we got Paranormal Activity 2. And then the year after that, we got Paranormal Activity 3. Cloverfield hit theaters in January of 2008. And in March of 2016, we finally got a second Cloverfield film. But this time, it wasn't found footage, it didn't have any of the same characters, and it was in a completely different location. So, its relation to the first film, no one really knows. And then 2 years after that, we got another Cloverfield film on Netflix as a surprise after the Super Bowl, and it didn't answer any questions either. So what happened? I mean, Cloverfield in a lot of ways kind of serves as a blueprint for how to build a franchise. Film it for cheap, make a big profit, you could probably start shooting the next one later that year, put the other one out, I don't know, during like a holiday or something. But that didn't happen. But the people who made Cloverfield went on to be very active and have a whole bunch of success. I mean, Matt Reeves is making Batman movies now. He made 2 Planet of the Apes movies. 2 great Planet of the Apes movies. JJ Abrams made a Star Trek movie the next year. And then he made a much worse Star Trek movie like 2 years after that. And then he made a Star Wars movie. And he might have done something called Rise of Skywalker, but does that movie exist? Is it even a movie? I don't know if it really matters. And Michael Giacchino is now directing things for Marvel. That's right. The guy who did the music in Cloverfield is now directing. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, it sits in a really weird space and time. This should have been a franchise that was sort of maybe not competing with other franchises at the time, but it should have been another one of those, oh yeah, this time of year, we'll get a Cloverfield movie. But that didn't really happen, and I don't really know why. I mean, 10 Cloverfield Lane, it's a pretty good watch. It's a pretty good time. I was ready to see where it went. Cloverfield Paradox, And then there were rumors that Overlord, that movie about Nazi zombies, was going to be a Cloverfield movie, but the jury's kind of out on whether that ever actually happened. What I find most interesting about the franchise aspect of that is Cloverfield was, the first Cloverfield film, was always its own thing, right? They wanted to make a monster movie, so they made a monster movie. But then they found a script for something unrelated and decided this should be a Cloverfield movie. That's how we got 10 Cloverfield Lane. Then they found another movie about astronauts in space and thought that should be a Cloverfield movie. And that's how we got the Cloverfield Paradox. So what you're saying is, if I write a script and send it to Paramount, maybe someone will look at it and think, that should be a Cloverfield film. I don't really know. But I do know as of September, The Hollywood Reporter says that we are getting a direct sequel to Cloverfield. I don't know when that's supposed to happen. I really hope JJ Abrams doesn't direct, because I'm still not over The Rise of Skywalker, which I don't even know if that movie actually exists. But hey, you know what? I enjoyed the first one for whatever it's worth, and I like monsters, so why not? That all being said, if you have not seen any of these Cloverfield movies, watch the first one, watch the second one, please don't watch the third one, just don't do it to yourself. And it's a film that I think is both underappreciated in its own right and underappreciated for what it meant for big budget movies at the time. I mean, I think this sets the blueprint for what more film studios should be doing with their franchise properties. Making cool things for cheap, putting them out at an opportune time, and just kind of riding the wave. Or not riding the wave. Or attacking things and making it part of the wave. I don't really know. I try not to make sense of what JJ Abrams does. I just kind of sit back, watch what he does, and voice my frustrations with my wife shortly thereafter. Anyway, I think I've rambled enough on this. Cloverfield is good. 10 Cloverfield Lane is also good. Nothing else exists, and hey, if you've got a screenplay, send it to Paramount. Maybe they'll make it into a Cloverfield movie. But anyway, that's all that I have to say for today. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. That way you can stay up to date on everything I have going on here. Once again, my name is Eric Huffman II. People call me Huff. Thank you so much. Stay sweaty, my friends. I will see you at the movies. Peace.